Welcome to Copilots, the podcast where we watch not just the first episode of a show,
but also the second. Some shows don't have the best pilot episode. Hey, give you that second chance. Might just change your mind.
Here we take that chance for you and let you know our opinion. If a show deserves more than one shot.
I'm Justice. Alongside me is my co-pilot Josh. Now, let's get ready for takeoff. Your in-flight entertainment this time will be Danganronpa, the animation.
Danganronpa is based off of the video game Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc.
Yes, the first in a series of visual novels.
I didn't realize they were Viznovs. That makes sense, though.
Yeah, they're Viznovs. Most horror shows I've found that were based on horror games were based on Japanese horror games, and most of those horror games were Viznovs.
That makes sense.
And then became animes.
Danganronpa is very closely tied to another video game series, Zero Time Dilemma.
Yeah, they're non-linear games.
Not in that they're made by the same person or anything, but in that their creators are friends, and that both series have references to each other in them.
They've literally crossed over. We've had characters show up.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
They also, because of that, show up in AI Somnium Files, because that is made by the people who make the non-linear games, but I don't think AI or I is part of it. I can never remember if it's AI Somnium Files or I Somnium Files, like the name I.
I think it's AI Somnium Files.
I don't remember.
I haven't played it, but
I think the name I, like AI, is like love or some shit. I'm pretty sure it has like a heart behind it, and it's a Somnium Files.
I have no idea then.
I don't know.
Anyways, Danganronpa opens in a way that made me think that the show wasn't actually going, but apparently this was actually part of the plot.
Yeah.
It opens with a man strapped to a chair.
Yep.
And then being enclosed in a bear-shaped Iron Maiden.
Yes, which is then put into a rocket.
Blasted into outer space.
Yep.
Re-enters the atmosphere, catches fire, because that's what happens when things re-enter the atmosphere.
Generally re-entry's kind of hot and dangerous.
Crashes, and then a skeleton opens to reveal a skeleton of a man. The man, presumably, that was inside it when it launched into space.
And it is all very stylistic. The animation for this show is very, very similar to the animation in the Viznov, by which I mean, in visual novels, it's never fully animated, because why would then you, so few choices in some, and also you just be making a Telltale games, that's the only difference. Telltales have, spaces in between where you move around and do stuff most of the time.
Telltale games are visual novels, but for Americans.
Yeah, they're visual novels with an in-game play shot they can add to their trailers.
Yeah.
But it follows their animation really closely and the artistic style, because all of the characters in the show look almost like they're cards, so almost just like they're a single image, a flat 2D layer put on the background, but it does add a 3D element in larger shots. But generally when we're focusing on someone face on, a lot of the time it's almost like a card, and it's very nice, and that's true for the skeleton. The skeleton literally just looks like a 2D thing on this 3D background, and so does Monokuma, who we meet right after we move away from that skeleton.
I will say, the skeleton has a name, which I found out by accident.
Yeah, I knew, because so I have not watched this series before, but
Me
I
neither.
have started the first game and also watched an entire playthrough of the first game. So it would vary somewhat, but the overall plot beats are the same.
Mm-hmm. I will say, the way this is animated, this first section is animated, the colors and everything, made me think this was just an OP, that this was leading into the OP.
No, that is just the palette for the show.
Yeah, I get that now.
Yeah.
But this causes the black and white bear that you said appeared, Monokuma.
Yeah, I hadn't describing it. It's literally the size of a stuffed teddy bear. Looks like a stuffed teddy bear. One half is black, one half is white, straight down the middle. And the black side has a stark red evil eye. The white side just has a little button eye, basically.
The white side is a teddy bear.
Yeah.
The black side is a teddy bear if it was a nightmare.
Sure.
And by nightmare, I mean a giant robot from Code Geass.
Sure.
That's something we didn't mention. Danganronpa, the animation, is an anime.
Yes.
We're an anime podcast again. I am sorry to all our passengers who have spent the last nearly year,
Glorious
11 months,
year.
11 months
Without having to watch an anime. It's great. Without having to listen to us talk about an anime. On the main line, we've talked about it here and there in interstitial stuff.
You know, the funny part is, out of the two of us, I would say that you were at one point a much bigger weeb than I ever was.
Yeah, probably.
But now you're like, I don't want to watch anime. I don't want it. Get it away from me. Especially in relation to the podcast.
I mean, it's, yeah, like, in real life, not so much. It's not...
What was the last anime you watched outside of Danganronpa?
I was literally watching it the other day.
Oh, really?
I don't remember the name of it. I was just checking to see if I could find this show or a few others. I was on Crunchyroll and I ended up and I was like, that show seems like it's perfectly hard enough for me to turn it on, half pay attention, and just vibe while drinking alcohol and like fucking around on my phone.
See,
but it's about this new office worker who's only been working for like at his company for like 3 years, and he has a crush on his not direct supervisor, but someone who's been there longer than him, so his senpai, because she's small, cute, and adorable. And then it's just a bunch of like bullshit back and forth. It's light, fluffy, serves no actual purpose, no plot, no like actual suspense or threat. Just exists.
See, I was thinking, man, the last anime I watched was Chainsaw Man when season 1 was airing. But then I remembered that earlier this week.
Yeah. You restarted rewatching Zoids?
Yeah, I was like, man, I want Zoids. I want to watch Zoids as an adult with like the ability to follow the plot line and not just catch episodes early in the morning before school.
Yeah.
And so I restarted Zoids. Unfortunately, Zoids is one of those shows that is basically legally unfindable.
Yeah, I know that problem.
So, have you ever heard of a website called 9anime?
No.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
Yar har har. And a bottle of rum.
But, yeah, no, so... I don't know. It's just recording anything, not just anime, but anything animated on the podcast. Feels like more effort because I want to talk more about the art and stuff because it is very important to and very individualistic, which cinematographic language is generally technically individualistic to each piece. But I mean, you only have so many certain ways to frame something. And sure, you can do a lot with set dressing, but like, you don't see that happen as often, whereas in anime, it doesn't cost you money to do outrageous set dressing.
Honestly, outside of like some of the animation directly involved with Monokuma.
Yeah.
And
there's not a lot to have to describe here.
And the animation with the murders themselves.
Yeah.
Because this is a like it's a Saw-like, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the best way to describe it.
That would be the best horror aspect of this. It is a suspense, thriller, gore.
It's a Saw-like.
Yeah.
But outside of that, those moments, the animation for this is, don't want this to come across like I'm ragging on the series, but the animation for this show is very generic outside of those moments.
I would say, I would definitely agree because for the most part, everything is just simple, normal people doing everyday life stuff with a few exceptions to some character designs and like punching some shit here and there.
Yeah.
But your backdrops for everything are pretty simple because it's just easier when doing something like a Visnom, especially if you don't have a lot of budget to start with like any game. If you don't have a huge budget, you reuse assets as much as possible. So sure, everyone's own private room looks basically the same because I don't have to pay someone or use the time that I would use for that each individual room. I can just be like, nope, they all look the same.
Also, from like a story perspective, it makes sense that the rooms all start off looking basically the same. Anyways, speaking of like you were saying, just normal people, the anime properly opens on a character named Makoto Nagai.
Makoto Nagai, yeah.
Makoto,
something like that.
Yep. He is, in all regards, an average student.
Yeah, he just won a Japan-wide lottery to attend the prestigious Hope's Peak High School.
A school that is normally reserved strictly for students who are specifically the best of their, like, niche.
Yes. So, in the anime...
We can get to it when we start introducing characters to explain that better.
And in the manga, all of these non-normal people are called super high-level students, which is a mouthful, and I wasn't expecting it because in the Visnov, it's just the ultimate and then insert whatever they're best of.
Ah, yeah, that's actually way easier.
Yeah, instead of super high-level high school student. I'm just like, nah, man.
I was just going to refer to them as best.
Yeah, I think in the Visnov, it's literally like the ultimate student, insert what they are.
I think you can't just use best though, because what if one of them is just the super ultimate boy?
Yeah, that's why it's the ultimate.
Because then if you just called him best, he would just be a best boy, and like
this anime don't have a best boy. Boys. There are no best boys here.
There are no best boys. But yeah, so he won a lottery that was like Japanese wide for all high school students, and has been accepted into this prestigious high school. And from there,
literally the moment he steps over the threshold of the school where he's standing, we get our exposition. He gets kind of faint.
The world like loses focus, and there's like a warping effect.
and he passes out.
Only to wake up in a completely empty classroom with like still plates on the wall.
And like it's very artistic still plates. It is a giant piece of steel with the giant nuts and giant bolts keeping it in place.
I would call them rivets.
They're not rivets though.
Oh, are they not?
No, because normally, like most rivets, you're not going to need a bolt like that on the back because most of your rivets are supposed to be seamless. Why rivets kind of exist.
There's a difference between seamless rivets and rivets.
Yeah, I guess they might be rivets on the other side. We don't see the other side. We don't know if it has a bolt head or not.
Fair enough. In this empty classroom, he finds a brochure sitting on a desk. The brochure is for Hope's Peak.
And the school he's going to.
The brochure also has a note in it instructing that all students to gather in the school's gym at 8 o'clock for the entrance ceremony.
Yeah.
It is currently 8 o'clock.
Yeah, so he's running a bit late, so he heads to the gym where he meets 14 other students.
Do you want to go through them real fast?
Yeah, and we get all of them, their own art, their own screen. Like, they're saying pithy lines that don't matter when they're introduced. They're all kind of complaining that he's late.
So first we have Yosuhiro Hakagaru, and he is the ultimate high school fortune teller.
Yes, we have Hifumi Yamada.
30% of the time, he's right about the future.
We have Hifumi Yamada, the ultimate high school fanzine artist, the ultimate high school, like, fan creator.
We have Kiyotoko Ishimaru, who is the ultimate hall monitor, which is like...
I think it's like the ultimate disciplinarian or the ultimate like council discipline member, basically. And then we have Junko Inoshima, the ultimate high school fashion diva. She's literally a model.
We have Chihiro Fujisaki, the ultimate high school programmer, like a computer programmer.
Yep.
She is... It's she, right?
Yeah. Should we be describing these people as we go?
I mean, not really. Like, I have a hard time remembering them visually.
They all have like very distinct styles.
I don't know about that. Like,
I mean, for the most
hall monitor, programmer, fan artist.
I've got them all so far. I know what they look like.
Literary person. Like, all of these have like very generic looks.
So the fortune teller has like dreadlocks almost, like, and has like a very.
It's not really dreadlocks. It's literally the same hairstyle that in the original Pokemon games, blue, red, yellow, silver.
I mean, it's just Yo from Shaman King's hair, but longer.
Yeah, kind of.
But like the best way I was thinking to correlate that to a real life hairstyle would be loose dreadlocks.
It's not though.
I think it's the best real world equivalent with how far out it goes and whatnot.
Anyways, the next character is Celestia Ludenberg, who actually she is a goth Lolita style like that. But she is the ultimate gambler.
Yep. We have Mondo Owada, the ultimate high school biker or ultimate high school delinquent.
This is Chris Sabat's character, right? Chris Sabat's character?
Yeah. He has a pompadour, and he's great.
He is Kuwabara.
Yay. Literally voiced by Chris Sabat, who did Kuwabara's voice in the OG Yu Yu Hakusho.
We have Leon Kuwata, who is a Yu-Gi-Oh! GX cast-off, but he's the ultimate baseball player.
He looks like a specific art character from a How to Draw Manga character book I saw when I was very young, except they added a goatee and changed his outfit from like I think the red they had him in to white.
No, he's from a rival duel school and he comes to Duel Academy as part of an exchange program to duel Jaden, and he uses a fire deck that uses the UFO Turtle, Infernal Reckless Summon, Solar Flare lock. And he has all three solar...
so Jaden just loses.
And he has all three solar flares on board, and at the end of an episode is laughing maniacally like, ha ha ha, how will you ever beat my solar flare dragons, Jaden? And then Jaden wins because Thunder Giant can destroy stuff without attacking.
Part of cards, baby.
Yeah.
So after that, we have Aoi Asahina, who is the ultimate high school swimmer.
I vaguely remember what she looks like.
Yeah.
My brain is... after her, we have Sakura Ogami. And Sakura Ogami, if you've watched Full Metal Alchemist or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Sakura Ogami looks like Scar.
Yeah.
She's big, muscular, got a scarred up face, and could probably kill literally anybody with her bare hands.
And she is the ultimate high school grappler, or the ultimate high school fighter. And, in my opinion, the best character in the visual novel. Not very hard, though. They're all kind of shitty.
Out of the characters, like the 2 episodes, and I guess this is spoilers, out of the 2 episodes, my favorites so far have strongly been Celestia and Sakura. I like them both a lot.
I thought you would like Yasuhiro. Fortune teller, bro.
No, he annoys me. I wish I liked him. Like I saw him and I was like, ooh, I like him. And then then I spent 2 episodes being like, oh, I hate him. Yeah.
So after Sakura, we have Toko Fukawa, the ultimate high school literary girl. So the ultimate high school.
She's literally the character from Doki Doki Literature Club, except a little less suicidal, but maybe just as murderous.
Yeah.
That brings us to Byakuya Togami, and he is Byakuya. He's literally just the ultimate heir. He is...
Yeah, his family's super rich, so he gets into the fancy school.
It's funny to me that his name is Byakuya, because that's literally also Byakuya.
Then we have Kyoko Kirigiri, the ultimate high school. We don't know. They don't tell us. We don't know what she's the ultimate of.
Oh, we don't?
No, we do not learn it.
Oh, that is right.
Yeah, we do not learn what she is the best at. She's just there.
That's wild. I didn't catch that.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, we have the ultimate high school idol, Sayaka Maizono.
No, we have main character's childhood friend who is in a will they, won't they.
She's not a childhood friend.
No, she's not.
She knows him from middle school.
Yeah.
To which he was surprised she knew him from middle school because she was already an idol and he did not have friends.
But yeah, he walks in the room, meets all these people, they introduce themselves, they're like, I am the best at this.
Yep.
I am the best at this. I am going to be very rich one day because the thing I'm best at is my parents are rich.
Yeah. I'm part of a family that's suffering from generational wealth all the way back from like the 1500s.
We've had the same store for 600 years. See, that sounds like an exaggeration, but in Japan, that's a thing.
I mean, yeah, but arguably he'd be part of a family from the like group of families that own like all of the big companies in Japan that go all the way back to like the fucking Sengoku period, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and that's like almost 500 years ago, like you said.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. And they've just held on to money and power since then, which tracks with what I know about what people do when you give them money and power.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, there's a moment where like Makoto and Sayaka talk to each other. They're like, "Oh, hey, it's great that I know somebody here." Mm-hmm. And Makoto is like, "Oh, you."
I'm surprised you even know who I am.
Yeah,
dope.
Yeah. Then a voice crackles through a speaker.
Yeah.
And suddenly a black and white bear jumps out of the podium onto the stage.
Jumps out of the podium and lands back into the podium, which implies whatever he launched out of closed.
And introduces himself as Monokuma,
the school's headmaster.
Which is the bear from the opening. Also, I just want to take this time so any of our less Japanese fluent passengers are aware. Kuma is the Japanese word for bear.
Yes.
I only know this because of Tekken. I want to be clear on that.
And then mono
is a reference to monochromatic. It's a portmanteau of the words monochromatic and the Japanese word for bear, which is kuma.
Yeah. So he's a monochromatic bear.
Yeah, you know, like a panda, which is also a monochromatic bear.
A murderous teddy bear.
Yeah, which is also a monochromatic bear.
Yep. So Monokuma explains the situation. He's like, you all have the most potential out of any high schooler in the country, in the world, maybe. You're our hope for the future. And to protect all of you, you're going to live here on campus for the rest of your time.
Forever.
Yep.
You're stuck here forever. Don't worry, though. We have plenty of food and a wildly exuberant budget, so we can take care of you perfectly fine.
Yeah, and then someone, I don't remember who, yells, you expect us to live here for the rest of our natural life?
I'm pretty sure it's Byakuya.
I think so. And then Monokuma laughs, and he's like, if you want out, though, there is a way.
You can graduate.
You just have to murder one of your fellow classmates without getting caught, and then you're free to go.
And
they all are like, what the fuck? That's fucked up. And they decide they are going to try to destroy Monokuma.
Yes. The ultimate
biker or delinquent, whichever one you wish.
Yes.
Chris Abbot's voice.
Character name is Mondo.
Yeah.
Mondo. Goes to attack Monokuma.
Yep.
And has picked up Monokuma like you would pick somebody up by the front of their shirt. And he's getting ready, like, has his fist pulled back to punch him.
Yep.
And Monokuma tells him that any harm done to faculty...
To the principal. He just says the principal. It is explicitly forbidden in the rule book, in the handbook.
And then starts making a noise. Like a...
Yep. To which Kyoko yells at Mondo to... throw him, get rid of him. Kyoko yells that. Yeah.
I'm glad you remember which character because I did not.
I mean, it technically is one of a few clues as to figuring out what she's the ultimate of.
I have the wiki opened and I clicked her name, so I already figured it out.
Yeah, it's not very hard. Like, I figured it out in the second murder of the game.
So...
well, the trial for the second murder of the game.
Mondo throws Monokuma. Monokuma explodes.
Yup.
And then a new Monokuma.
And then Mondo's just like, that could have blown my face off.
And then a new Monokuma instantly appears out of the podium behind them.
Yeah, and he's like, I'll let that one slide.
Consider it a warning.
A verbal warning, young man. Any further attempts will be met with corporal punishment. He's going to kill him. That's what that translates to.
No, he doesn't say that. Corporal punishment could be anything.
Yeah, but we're talking about a tiny weird bear that we saw murder someone in the opening and has just told them he wants them to murder each other so they can leave.
Fun fact, corporal punishment from teachers and faculty administered to students is legal in the state of Texas.
Yep.
And the only way to prevent your child from being corporally punished is to explicitly write a letter to the principal of your school or the superintendent of your school requesting that your child be exempt from
corporal punishment. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
America.
I think maybe we should let Texas do that thing where it wants to do like every 2 to 3 years and just let it leave. Puerto Rico's been wanting to join the union for a long time. We can just let Texas go, bring Puerto Rico in. We don't need to change the flag.
I don't want to derail the topic too hard, but if Texas broke off from the union,
we'd be fucked.
No, Texas would be fucked.
Yeah.
Their power grid is so shoddy, and it's separate from the rest of the United States because they're like, we're going to do it ourselves. And basically, anytime they get snow of any sort,
it goes down.
Or they get hit by a hurricane and they're right in the Gulf.
Yeah, also, it's not like anyone's going to be repairing them because those are American companies who are then going to try to renegotiate with the new country of Texas, and Texas won't have the money to back it up.
Texas power companies are Texan power companies. Again,
I'm pretty sure they have, I think they're still owned by other power companies that run the rest of America, basically. They just have a lot looser rights in Texas.
But the important factor is whenever Texas as a state loses power, it's not Texas that fixes the issue.
I'm aware.
So, anyways, before we piss off any of our Texan passengers,
Monokuma, after delivering his threat, disappears. And they're all trying to figure out where the fuck he went. Well, some of them are trying to figure out where he went, and the others are immediately like, let's try to get the fuck out.
Yeah, they're like trying to figure out if they really have to kill each other and whether they can trust each other. So all of them as a group, the 14 of them decide that they're going to look for an exit together. I say 14 even though there's 15 because Byakuya goes, I'm going to look by myself. Fuck you.
One of you might be plotting to murder me right this instant. So,
and in his defense, I would be.
Yeah, I hate him. I hate him the most.
If I have to kill one of these 14 other people,
he already deserves the guillotine.
He I don't think all heirs to massive wealth immediately deserve the guillotine. They do not have the massive wealth themselves, and that does not prove themselves worthy of the guillotine. But he is obviously the type of person who, once he inherits that wealth, will continue to hoard and not use it to
benefit anyone.
Yeah.
Or anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all off doing things. We see them checking gates.
Because before they go off, Mondo gets really pissed at Byakuya because Byakuya's like, one of you might be trying to kill me. And so Mondo goes to attack Byakuya.
Yeah.
Makoto gets in the way, and Mondo punches Makoto right in the face.
Yep.
Knocks him out.
And then Makoto wakes up in his room, again, in his new dorm room. Not again, sorry.
Yeah, he hasn't woken up there yet.
He wakes up in his new dorm room with Sayaka, who's sitting on his bed next to him. And she explains that some of the other guys carried him there after Mondo knocked him out, and that she volunteered to stay with him while everyone else went to look for some way out. So
I want to just let you know that the show ended up swerving me pretty hard.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, she stayed with him specifically because she's planning to kill him.
Yeah.
So swerved me pretty good. She might have been planning to kill him.
I mean, yes.
Okay, cool. So Sayaka insists that she will be Makoto's assistant. They'll basically be detectives together.
Yep, they'll work together. They'll figure it out, and they'll find a way out.
So the two of them join the other 13 students in the cafeteria, where Mondo and Makoto forgive each other, which Makoto doesn't need to forgive jack shit. Mondo is
just
such a short-fused dick.
And then they share what they learned, which was all these super high-tech looking doors can't be opened. We found that the stairways are blocked with iron bars. There are gates that look like they might rise up that are currently blocking off certain wings of the school.
And the kitchen is fully stocked and refills daily
and
based on how much was taken out the day before.
And also Sakura cannot punch through the metal barricades on the windows. She did try. We had a nice little punch animation. It was fairly well done.
And was Mondo the one trying to kick his way through the giant steel door?
Yeah, but he's dumb.
Yeah.
Which also, the giant steel futuristic looking door that is the main entrance to this high school looks like you've entered the danger room in X-Men.
Kind of looks like a Vault Tech door too.
That too, yeah.
I like Vault Tech. I like Fallout.
Fallout's fun.
So, and we learned that the kitchen restocks because I don't remember which person it was.
I believe it was Aoi.
Makes sense. Went to the kitchen just to investigate.
Yeah.
And while they were there,
it was either her or it was the programmer.
Monokuma came out and gave them exposited information about the kitchen.
Yep. And so while they're all having this meeting, they all agree that they should stay in their own rooms after 10 p.m.
because there's a curfew. And I don't understand the rules of the curfew, right? Because there's a curfew for the school.
Yes.
But it's not really enforced.
So the idea is that the curfew is in force, but obviously Monokuma doesn't give a fuck. The only really important thing that we learn role-wise around this point is that you may only sleep in a student room. Falling asleep anywhere else will be considered napping and will be punished.
We also learn that the guys' showers do not lock.
Yes.
The girls' showers do lock.
But their rooms lock and the showers are in their rooms. So, like,
Yes. And that after 7 p.m., the showers are no longer available.
Yeah, but we don't really learn all of that until later.
Fair enough. Also, the person that suggested everybody staying in their room after
was Celestia, the Gothic Lolita, yes.
Yes.
Who, let's face it, if you're worried about someone killing someone, she constantly has a weapon on her. She has one of those really, like, neat armor-looking, like, finger gauntlets.
Yeah, like the finger
needle
gloves.
Sharpened on the point just past the second knuckle. Like, if she wanted to, she could remove your throat with it.
I had a friend that used to wear those, like a set of rings like that to school. Eventually, teachers were like, hey, you can't wear those. And he got into an argument with them because they were jewelry, but they were also functionally weapons.
Yeah, but I could stab someone with a pencil and they let me use those in school.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's not just do they let you use pencils, but like for all of elementary, it was mandatory that I had scissors.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's a weird biased views on perspective and also what counts as normal, because mid-wearing jewelry, not normal. So we're going to hyper focus on it more and then find an excuse to get rid of it.
I said he, but like that's because at the time, in her defense, she is now a woman, and so wearing those rings would not be considered abnormal.
I mean, no, it would be at that school.
At that school, maybe, yeah.
So, anyways, though, they all come up with that plan, and then they go to bed.
Yes, and then the next day we have the second student meeting,
and it's really just, hey, we really need to keep looking, so they keep looking around, and then Monokuma gets frustrated because everyone's working together and trying to find a way out, and he thinks they need motivation.
So he makes them go to the media room, where they're each given an individual DVD and like a portable DVD player.
Yeah.
And we know from getting to see
Makoto's
DVD that it's essentially a threat that if he doesn't play the game, his family will be killed.
Yeah, because at first it's his family talking to him. They're all just like, hey,
we're so proud of you.
Super proud of you. Like, we didn't expect this, but we're so happy that you're getting to go to such a great school, and we hope you make the most of it, and we just really want you to know we love you. And then it smash cuts to their living room destroyed, things torn up. They're missing, the windows are broken. It's darker now, like it's all fucked up.
And like this vaguely traumatizes Makoto, so he starts looking around the room to see what everybody else's reactions are.
Everyone looks either nervous or extremely shocked.
And Sayaka, though, is in a state of severe shock, and she basically drops her DVD player thing, jumps up, screams, and runs out of the room.
Yes, and then Makoto immediately runs after to follow her.
He catches up to her in the hallway, grabs her by the arm, and is like, hey, remember, we're in this together. Detectives. We'll figure our way out of this.
She takes a moment to calm down, but eventually does.
And then she throws herself into his arms, and
we end on a hug, basically.
Yeah.
Then we get a good ending theme.
Yeah, I love the ending theme. Yeah. Honestly.
Also, literally halfway through this episode, we had the opening theme.
Opening theme is boring. We can skip it.
It's fine. Like, I don't think it's bad. It's just not as good as the ending theme.
Yeah, the ending theme is a banger.
Agreed.
That's the end of Danganronpa episode 1. I don't remember if it has names.
It does have a name.
Oh, I forgot to mention that early on.
You did. I was going to see if you ever said anything about it, but you didn't.
I did just now.
I think you should feel bad.
I did just now. I said something about it.
Yeah, but what's it called?
I don't remember.
Welcome to Despair High School.
That's
episode 1. Welcome to Despair High School.
Yeah, but that's not the name of the high school. The name of the high school is Hope's Peak.
Yes, which is a joke, which Makoto references like twice in this first episode. Hope's Peak. It's the peak of hope. After this, there's no more hope.
Do you have the title for episode 2? Because I don't have that either.
Not in parentheses. Normal arc, : Kill and
Live. Yep,
yes.
Found it.
And then I think the rest of the episodes should be not normal arc, so on and so forth. And then it's like not normal arc, blah, not normal arc, blah. Kill and Live is the first like arc, basically.
So that's the end of episode 1. Justice, what do you think of Danganronpa so far?
It's not bad. We watched the English dub.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to take notes on. And some of the voice acting I wish was a bit better.
But because it's the English dub, we do get the wonderful Chris Sabat.
We do. But that also means we get Sayaka's voice actress's yells and screams, which obviously that's the direction she was given, but it's too much.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Is it too much? Isn't it perfect?
And like Makoto's dad's voice was just goofy. It feels like it was intentionally goofy, but
hiya, son.
Yeah. But like somehow the tone was even goofier. But other than that, I think
what was it like? Yuck.
Oh gosh, son.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh, Max.
I just want to be a part of your life, Max.
I can skateboard in the X Games too, Max. But so But I think the animation works well while staying, like I said, fairly true to the Viznov, and like the way they integrate the character designs into working with it well, and keeping like, honestly, the best way to describe its palette and style would be almost pop arty.
Yeah.
With like its bright vibrancy and its bold colors and shapes for the most part.
Really it feels only like that's a thing around Monokuma and murders, death.
Yeah, those definitely have the more pop arty aspects, and we're not dealing with the darker side, which like the darker we get, the more pop art it gets.
Yes.
Whereas the more slice of life things, it's much more like normal.
Very generic.
Mm-hmm. But I like the way that art is done.
Fair enough.
As far as the show goes, after the first episode, would I watch more? I don't think I would, just because it's not super interesting to me.
Now, is that because you already know the plot, or because
that is me removing myself from it?
Fair enough.
Having like watched the game through and played some of it, I'd probably watch more, just because why not? I already know it. It's a thing I just have paid attention to again.
Fair enough. For me, there is nothing special about this anime other than the outro.
Yeah.
It's weird to me how massively successful and popular this is based off of this episode. Because other than like knowing the name of the games and like knowing about Monokuma, my knowledge of Danganronpa is like
pretty minimal.
0.
Yeah.
And based off this episode, I'm okay with that because it wasn't the biggest waste of 25 minutes of my life.
Yeah, but you probably could have been doing something better, more enjoyable at least.
Mm-hmm. But it would make the short list of like top 100 biggest wastes of 25 minutes of my life, which is impressive. I've had a lot of 25 minutes of my life.
Yeah, you're old.
You don't have to put it that way.
Old.
I'm not even 30.
Ugh.
You don't have to put it that way.
But let's go on to episode 2. Would you like to say its title?
Not normal arc. Kill and live.
Ikaru hi Nichijou hin.
Toten odara getotet werden.
I think you just said the word Christmas tree 3 times in German. I heard Tannenbaum 3 times. That's all I heard.
Oh, Tannenbaum. Oh, Tannenbaum. The Gründens. It's been so long.
Yeah, here is where we learn about the shower situation, because we literally start with Makoto standing in front of the door to his shower.
Oh, yes.
And there's a big sign on it. So we learn that the water gets turned off after 7 p.m. The women's showers have locks on them. The boys do not.
We also learn that each student was gifted a toolkit in their desk drawer.
Yes. We literally learned this shower information though from Monokuma for some reason, like that he needed to exposit it to us.
He just shows up in
Makoto's room. And then...
You think he shows up in all other 14 rooms and goes, hey guys, this is the shower thing.
Yes, I do. I 100% actually think that.
To be fair, he could just show up in all 15 rooms simultaneously.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough.
I think he does exactly that.
How many Monokumas do you think are active at any time?
Way too many. I have information you don't.
Okay. Did you know Monokuma has kids?
I mean, yes, no, kind of.
The Wikipedia is a wild place. I didn't read about
Danganronpa is a wild place.
I didn't read about his kids, but they're called the Mono Cubs, and I just could not leave that fact out.
Yeah, the show is weird. The series, the Viznov is weirder. But so he leaves, and then an announcement plays out that, hey, you have a special kit in your drawers, and it's like a wrench, pliers, tools to, I don't know, open locked doors. Who knows?
It is kind of explicitly like the tools you would need to open locked doors. I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't put it together. Also, for some reason, Makoto has a katana in his room.
Yeah, decoration, baby.
Oh, it's supposed to be decorative?
Yes.
Are we sure it's not like literally put there so you can murder somebody?
It can be both. Duh.
Are you sure he's not going to pull a Black Ranger and stab somebody in the middle of the night?
I mean, maybe not. Who knows? So, as he's looking at this weird case he's pulled out from his bedside drawer, he hears a knock on his door.
I think it's a doorbell, right?
Yeah, he hears a doorbell. They have doorbells. You are correct, actually.
It's very weird because, like, if your entire living quarters is a bedroom and a shower and assumedly a toilet, you don't need a doorbell.
Yeah,
I've lived.
Don't get me wrong. It's a fairly decent sized room, but still do not need a doorbell.
I've lived in that situation before. A knock is pretty audible.
Yeah, but anyways, he goes to open the door, and it is Sayaka outside, and she would like to come in and talk because she's scared and nervous because she heard someone, it seems, trying to open her door.
Mm-hmm. So she is worried about somebody's trying to kill her.
Yep.
So Makoto offers to let her stay in his room for the night.
Yeah.
And then because that's an awkward offer, he
will take her room.
Yeah, because it'd be awkward for them to sleep in the same bed.
Yeah.
And I guess there are single beds, but like...
You could also just sleep on the floor while holding your katana in case she tries to kill you in the night.
Or I would sleep in my shower.
Yeah, because we specifically learn that the reason why this entire shower thing is announced is for the future bit, what we're about to get to. But we learn that Makoto's door is not really broken, but kind of broken. It sticks really badly. And
you have to like lift up while you push in.
You have to lift and tilt it to the left a bit and push in. To which Monokuma makes a brief joke about how unlucky it is that Makoto has this room with this door.
Actually, if she's worried about like somebody trying to kill her, she could sleep in my shower. She could like bring her the pillow and blankets from her room, sleep in my shower, and I could sleep in my bed and maneuver my bed in front of the shower door.
Yes, but
there are so many better options than switching rooms. Switching rooms accomplishes literally nothing, except in the case where if one of us dies, the other person looks insanely suspicious now.
Yeah. So the next morning, they wake up, and they've all agreed to always eat breakfast in the morning as a way to kind of check up on each other, make sure everyone's still alive. And there are some people who get there early, people that get there about on time, some people who just wander in whenever. So eventually, everyone gets there, except for, can you guess?
Is it Makoto? Is he dead?
No.
Is it Sayaka?
It is.
Is she
not
dead?
there. Yeah, she is.
So
when Makoto realizes she's super late, because apparently she's normally one of the early people.
Yeah, Byakuya is the last person to stroll into breakfast.
Yep, and he's an asshole.
And they're like, hey, did you see Sayaka? And he's like, no, I came from my room. Why would I have seen Sayaka? That doesn't make any sense.
I came right here after waking up.
What do you think I am? Who do you think I killed her? Is that what you're suggesting? And Makoto freaks out. He's like, oh no, what if something happened to her? Yep. And he runs off to find her, and he goes to his bedroom, which has been torn up. There's like deep
gouges in the wall and stuff, and the katana is pulled out of its sheath, laying on the floor. And his bathroom door has been knocked in and the door handle removed. So it looks like someone used one of those toolkits to get that door handle off so they could open it.
And Sayaka is on the floor, covered in neon,
purplish pink
blood.
Yeah.
And with a knife sticking out of her stomach.
Yep. And Makoto screams, and then everyone kind of just joins up after a cut, because we cut there.
Because Makoto loses consciousness again.
Yep.
And it's weird to me that like
they all wake up in the gym again.
Well, he wakes up in the gym. Yeah. They all went to the gym because
they had to.
There's an assembly.
Yeah, Monokuma.
How did Makoto get to the gym?
Someone had to carry him, or Monokuma carried him.
Okay, it had to be Monokuma because the rest of them don't know that Sayaka died in his bathroom.
Yeah.
So how did Monokuma?
No, they all know Makoto's dead.
Sayaka.
They all know Sayaka's dead.
They don't know she's dead in his bathroom.
Yes.
That's the important part.
Yes. That is an answer you would get in episode 3.
Okay, well, I was just wondering. Like, I thought that was a question I had while watching the show.
Yeah, no, that isn't... So... We're gonna get to like the main thrust of what this game is and the way it's done in the anime.
The wiki says Sakura carried him there.
Yeah, Sakura did because she's super strong. Sakura carries him there.
So Monokuma took him to Sakura.
No. Everyone went to go check, assumingly because he screamed. They found him and Sayaka. They carried him back to the gym because Monokuma wants a meeting. They are just unaware that Sayaka died in his room. We know this because they learn here, and we can tell by all their reactions and the things they say, because in this meeting, Monokuma explains that, hey, she's dead, and that he explains when she died and how she died, and they all get a little update on their
tablets.
Their tablets are just their school
e-handbooks.
Yes. So it has pictures of the scene, explains how she was killed, and when she died.
And her defensive wounds.
Yes.
Which is a broken wrist.
And in that explanation, it explains that Sayaka was killed in Makoto's room.
Yes.
And they're all like, wait, what? And they're like, immediately turn on him, suspicious, angry.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sorry, at first, we don't get the handbook thing. They all try to blame Monokuma, and he's like, I wouldn't kill any of you.
That defeats the purpose.
Yeah, where would the fun in that be? And then, I think it's the ultimate disciplinarian, or as the Wikipedia translated it, and the show translated it, the super high-level high school hall monitor.
Yeah, the best hall monitor.
Yep. And so they are all rightly suspicious when they find out this information, because they're just like, oh, she was in your room, she's dead, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, so they all start kind of accusing him, and Monokuma goes, but hold on. We will do this properly. You'll have time to investigate, and then we will have a trial.
Well, as they're complaining, they're just like, well, why is he still here? Then shouldn't he have graduated? And Monokuma was like, you all forgot. Has to get away with it.
So we will do this properly.
There'll be a trial. And Makoto's like, okay, cool, let's get some evidence. And they're just like, nah, that sounds like a you problem. You have to deliver the burden of proof to prove your innocence.
But Monokuma explains that if they are right about who they think did the killing, that person dies.
Yes.
And they don't graduate. But if they are wrong, then they will all be punished instead.
And the killer will get to go free. They are the judge, jury, and executioner.
But Junko the model, protests this, saying that she doesn't want to take part in the trial, doesn't want to risk getting punished for being wrong.
Yeah, she's yelling at Monokuma. Monokuma's yelling back, then jumps down, and she's like, look here. And then she steps on his face.
And Monokuma goes, hey, look.
I warned you guys.
So then Monokuma says, Spears of Gungnir, which if you're unfamiliar is the name of Odin's spear.
Yeah.
And out of thin air, these black spears appear and impel Junko from every direction.
And she dies.
And yeah, she dead.
Don't attack the principal. Seems like a bad idea.
Students suddenly shocked because she's literally 20-something spears.
Yeah, and Monokuma was just like, and this is what happens if you don't follow the rules.
So now, go invest Sayaka's death, and then we will have a trial. Sound good? Sound good.
Yep.
So
Makoto, after everyone's just like, it's up to you to provide evidence, most of them wander off because they're just like, he's convinced already he's guilty. So Kyoko, and I think some other people I don't remember who, go to investigate the crime scene.
They discover her wrist was broken.
Yep.
That she has gold flakes from the decorative katana on her. And then they find numbers on the wall written in blood. Because it was written in blood. It was written in blood. Oh my god, it was written in blood.
And it's 11037. And also while they're looking around, they're not just checking out the crime scene, they're searching everywhere, murder weapon, whatever, evidence. And they find a charred piece of sleeve by what looked like a furnace, which is why I'm assuming they're getting rid of all their trash.
Yeah, it's the incinerator room. Mm-hmm. And they find a shattered crystal ball and a piece of bloody cloth.
Yep.
And then also this is the time where Kyoko, the ultimate person we don't know what she's the ultimate of, realizes that Makoto and Sayaka's dorm room plates have been switched.
Yes.
So that's why they didn't know it was Makoto's
why they didn't know it was Makoto, yeah.
That's my bad. I don't know why I didn't catch that.
It's fine. And then Makoto finds Sayaka's motivational DVD.
Which is what Monokuma calls the DVDs that he used to threaten the students.
And hers is just it shows all the members of her idol group collapsed on the floor. And it starts off with them dancing, actually. And it's talking about how they were so successful and fantastic. But what could just make them fall out of stardom all of a sudden?
And then even if she escapes, he'll reveal what caused them to break up.
Yep.
And that's it. After that, Monokuma announces that it's time for the class trial, and that's the end of episode 2.
Yep.
So, based on how the class trials work, I do have a question. You have more knowledge. Based on how class trials work, does that mean every class trial in the show, you have to figure out who actually did the murder, or everybody else dies? Because so far, punishment means death.
Yes.
That's lame.
You get it wrong, everyone dies.
I really wish punishment didn't mean insta-death. That's lame.
Yeah.
Punishment should have a more depth to it, a more complexity.
You would think so, but the answer is no.
That's lame.
I would agree.
So, Justice, what do you think of Danganronpa after episode 2? Danganronpa? I don't know if I'm saying
I think it's Danganronpa, but I might be wrong. I don't fucking know. It's all right. I think episode 2 doesn't really add a lot, though it is nice that we actually get to what would be the thrust of the show, which is murders happening and then trying to solve a murder. But because it is adapting the first big event, hey, this is decisive story moment in this game moment, in the game, obviously, it's kind of hand-walky, holdy-handy, simple compared to the rest of some of the other shit you have to figure out later, some of the other murders.
Fair enough.
And so it's set up kind of the same way in this. Fair, but it doesn't make for a very intriguing first step into the, hey, you have to solve murders or die scenario that this anime is supposed to be thriving on. Yeah,
honestly, would you watch more of it? That's the key thrust here.
Again, for the exact same reasons I offered in episode 1, would I watch more, which is, I already know what's going to happen. It's fine background noise. I do like the pop art style we get here and there. It's pretty flashy colors, and I know what's happening. It can be background noise.
Fair enough. I guess same questions, but for me now.
Indeed.
The show is boring.
Understandable.
It's not fun to watch. Watching this show is about as fun as playing the first game in the non-array games.
It's not the game's fault you didn't click on the pillow correctly and got stuck there for 20 minutes.
It is the game's fault. The window to click on the pillow is less than an eighth of the size of the pillow.
Yeah, it's done that way. You can't just click anywhere on the screen and get through.
If I click,
you have to actually think things through.
If I click the pillow, it should click the pillow. Anyways,
you're just a random clicker.
The show is more boring to me than playing the non-array game's first game.
Understandable.
And maybe the game is better, but I don't know. I don't want to watch more of this. I don't care. I have a bunch of questions. What the fuck is Monokuma?
Honestly, this feels like it stretches out that first part of the game a lot, which I don't think it really does. It's just that I read through it fairly quickly. It's all based on my reading and then on my solving stuff.
Mm-hmm. Why is the only punishment in this game murder?
Because why wouldn't it be?
Why is it specifically the best of the best? Like, at least Saw made sense.
This also makes sense, but we only have 2 episodes.
Fair enough. There's like I said, there's a bunch of questions I have that I would like answers for.
Yeah.
But I don't care enough to watch more of the show. And that's a problem when you're making a show.
Yeah. So you wouldn't watch more?
I wouldn't watch more, and I don't want to watch any more now.
So that's our last episode for this Horror-tober. This October of Horrors.
And I want you to know, I just when I was looking at IMDb stuff, I found out that Mikado is in the 3rd game.
Yep.
Which means he survives this somehow. Which either means he eventually murders somebody or finds another way out. Or flashbacks. Okay, well, that's the end of Horror-tober, the best month of the year.
Yep.
Except this is the worst part of this month of the year. We've had a really good Horror-tober that we started early in September.
Yep. Wait, being human, becoming human.
Alan Wake and Night Springs.
Yeah.
And we get it in with Danganronpa, which is...
Look, I liked the idea of, since we were doing 2 video games that had horror shows in them.
No, the tie-in makes sense.
Yeah, like a video game that got horror shows made for it, then go with a horror game that got a horror game that got a show made on it. So, the other option was probably either Corpse Party, which I've heard all right things about, but people like Danganronpa more. So I was like, maybe the animes would be better than Corpse Parties.
We could have done a Resident Evil, but I really wanted to do an anime because it's been 11 months.
Yeah.
And like,
we could have done
I don't specifically care about doing anime, but like I think as a show that reviews shows,
I agree.
We should have the diversity of reviewing anime at least once or twice a year, because
I understand. I just hate reviewing animated shows.
Anyways, unless you have more to add about Danganronpa.
It was either going to be that or Higurashi, When They Cry, but we've already both seen that.
I've read the entirety of Higurashi.
Same, I've seen it.
To be fair, we could have watched the new version of Higurashi, but like, the only difference is like, it's good versus like the quality of the new Higurashi.
Yeah, also I think they chose a different ending.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
If you're interested in reading a good like manga, Higurashi is very good.
Or if you want to play a Viznov, that's a good horror Viznov, Higurashi's also fine.
I prefer the graphic novel.
Understandable.
I prefer the manga because the manga like loops in such a way that it like makes you question what you're reading.
So does the game.
It's very good.
The game does the same thing.
But anyways, instead we chose Danganronpa, and that was a mistake. But we want to thank you for flying with us, and we will see you again in November. If you want to reach out to us, there's a myriad of ways to do that. Specifically,
you can email us at copilotsreview@gmail.com.
You can hit us up on X, or this website formerly known as Twitter, or if we're not being facetious, Twitter. At Copilots Review.
Yep. You can possibly find us on Blue Sky at some point in the future. Hopefully at Copilots Review.
Hopefully. And otherwise, you can find links to all of those, including the Blue Sky, which is not a link yet, at our website, copilotsreview.simplecast.com, which also has links to our YouTube and Patreon.
And our Discord.
Anyways,
though, thank you for flying with us, and please fly again soon.